NFL training camp updates and get with it today. So, I think here we go. I think we're good. I think. Don't quote me on that. Okay. All right, we're going to kind of wait to get things moving here and just kind of see what y'all are doing, how your day is going as we get ready to do this live stream and have some fun with it today. Like I said, NFL training camp updates, going to be a lot of fun, a lot of things going about it. And we're actually going to start at the show here in a second with a little bit of something different, but we're going to kind of just wait for a second here as you guys kind of look to join, do your things. Like I said, I hope you guys had a great day at work. Monday, it's done. Kind of. Maybe for most of us. But anyway, we're getting there, and I think at the end of the day, it always feels good to have somewhat of a relief and get that first day of the week done. Then you got Tuesday. Then you got hump day. And then after that, yes, we're one step closer to football, which I can absolutely not wait in my own right. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Stop wasting some time and just get with the program. So we actually wanted to start with the portion today talking about questions you guys had. Like we said from the very beginning, if you guys have any questions, please put those in the comment section. We're going to continue to come out with that segment throughout this entire training camp process, throughout the regular season, just going through your guys' questions you have about your NFL teams, and we're going to go from there. And like I said, we are very happy to go ahead and answer those. So we're going to start out with the questions that were posted yesterday, actually. This is from Nate Dog 7488. We love you, man. Thank you so much for your question. 3 questions here, really. Is the current roster better than the 2021 playoff roster that a lot of current negative fans claim was much better? And deeper. I know you guys can't see that, but just take my word for it. So the first part of that question, I think that this roster, in comparing it to the 2021 playoff roster, I think it's pretty interesting when you ask that question because the 2021 roster was stacked. And right now, if it's without Josh Jacobs, I would say that the roster back in 2021 was more stacked. But I also have a lot of faith in Zamir White, who I'm really excited to see in year 2. Yes, Josh Jacobs is right now not at camp, but I do think that if he does come back, he's going to be an immediate upgrade. But as far as from an overall team perspective, I think this offensive line is better. I think that, the defense, if you could just be half middle of the pack type of a defense, I think you're automatically going to be better. Even if they're honestly top 20, I think that is clearly going to be way better than what we've seen. So just on paper, on purpose, from a talent perspective, I think that they are more talented. But again, that doesn't mean anything. This is only camp. We got to see what happens. But on paper, I would say yes, that this is it's a better and a deeper roster because there's a lot of guys that had really good days at camp and are showing a lot right now, and we'll get into that in just a second. What's statistically considered a good season for Marcus Peters this season? Another good question. Marcus Peters is getting up there. We've covered it from the very beginning. He's a guy that, yes, he is not the spring chicken that once came out of the draft and all that, but, he's a guy that, quite honestly, I think he's still got a little left in the tank. I'm not saying he's going to come out and be the Marcus Peters of old. We've covered that in the past. It's just not going to happen. But he is a guy that is still going to find a way to get it done. Doesn't matter, I would say, as far as stats go. I think at least 40 tackles and 1 to 3 interceptions is definitely something that's doable, and probably a 60 to 70 PFF coverage grade I definitely think is doable as well. But I think his impact is really going to be felt from a leadership perspective. What is he going to teach some of these younger guys that are really looking to learn a lot and really looking to find a way to continue to get better? Like I said, I'm excited for Marcus Peters to come in and do his thing, but I do think that you got to tap on the brakes just in terms of what you're expecting from him from a stats perspective. He's not that guy that's going to get 5, 6, 7, 8 interceptions anymore, but I think 1 to 3 is definitely in that possibility. And then finally, what's statistically considered a good season by Jimmy Garoppolo this season? I think at least 20 to 25 touchdowns, 3,800 to 4,500 passing yards. I mean, that might be a little bit of a dreamy outcome if you're a Raiders fan like myself, but I do think that you have to look at what Jimmy G did with the 49ers in the past. He's a guy that, he has taken his opportunities in stride. When he has a good running game and a good defense, he can get you deep. Obviously, the Raiders don't have the 49ers defense at this point in time, but I think it's going to be a much improved defense. I think that Jimmy G is going to get the opportunity to give the ball off to Zamir White, hopefully Josh Jacobs as the season gets going here. But overall, I do think that's a good question. Like I said, 20 touchdowns, 20 to 25 touchdowns. Anywhere from 8 to 11 interceptions. I think he takes pretty good care of the football. Is definitely the expectation expectation, or at least fair to expect. That's what's fair to expect from Jimmy Garoppolo, excuse me. But once again, thank you, Nate Dog 7488 for your question. Like we said, hey, if you guys have questions, please put them in the comment section or whatever, for just label it, hey, for questions segment, and we'll be glad to answer it. We love you guys, giving you guys all the shout outs and all the love that you guys continue to give us. So we're going to go ahead and start with our Raiders training camp observations. I believe this was the first day of pads that we've seen. But anyway, we're going to get right into it because this was fun. So first off, Jimmy G, Davante Adams getting after it. I love to see it. Those two just connecting up early and often. I do think it's a sign of things to come. But, Jimmy G, I don't think he's going to be a guy that can throw that 30 to 35 touchdowns a game or a year, excuse me. That would be impressive in a game, Colton. But in a year, I think he's, like we said, that 20 to 25 touchdowns is where you're going to expect him. I expect Davante Adams potentially to catch half of those. So, Jimmy G and Davante Adams are feeling it, hooking up early and often. You love to see it. Good. Like I said, you love to see it. Rookies, Trey Tucker, Michael Mayer, and Amari Burney are they're getting after it. Those rookies, specifically on the defensive side with Amari Burney at linebacker. I mean, between him and Isaiah Palomalo, who we'll touch on in just a second, I'm so excited about those guys. This defense needs players that can step up, do some different things. So I do think that you've got to be a little bit excited about seeing those guys come up. But also Trey Tucker caught a long ball, a touchdown along the sideline today. Also Michael Mayer brought it as far as catching passes. Can he translate that to the running game was the big question, according to a couple of Raiders coaches and all that, but we're going to see. Also, the defense is turning it up. Like we talked about, Isaiah Palomalo he got an interception today. I do think that is a pleasant change. I got to quit punching my table here. That's a pleasant change from what we've seen from the Raiders defense in the past. They just haven't quite gotten the turnovers that they've needed to. But like we said, I think that is a great start for IPM. Yes, IPM. I don't know if that's going to stand for something with a car, but overall, hey, dude's getting after. He's making plays. There's really not a lot more you can ask from the guy, and I do think he's going to have a place on the Raiders defense if he continues to play like this. So I'm really excited to see that. Also, Nate Hobbs is back. No more softball, please. You're done. It's just, please God, don't play any more softball. But yes, from that injury he did sustain while taking a softball to the head in a charity game. You do wish him a speedy recovery, nothing but the best. And you also do love that about a player, a guy that's going to go out in a charity game and also go out and give his best and, try to play for an event like that for the fans and go out there and do that. I mean, I do have a little bit of respect for that. I would consider him a guy that is really liked by the fans and by the locker room, by the Raiders. So, again, I don't really necessarily fault him for that. I like to see a guy that wants to go out there and support his community, support his team. You love to see that as well. Hunter Renfrow is having some fun. You love to see it because obviously he was missing for a large portion of last year with injuries and all that stuff, but he's coming in, going to do his thing, going to see what Jimmy G can do to spread out the football. Yes, the Raiders brought in guys like Trey Tucker and all that to really compete with him. Keelan Cole is a guy I'm keeping my eye on as well when it comes to the position in the slot with Hunter Renfrow and all that. But hey, he's having fun, and if we can have even like one tiny glimpse of him from what he was from a couple years ago, I think that would really help out this Raiders defense. So I'm really excited to see that. Also, yes, Divine Diablo, Jaquan Johnson did not practice today. It is what it is. Those were not necessarily shocker, those were shocking things to develop. We'll see what kind of comes down and what continues to happen with that, and just kind of go from there and kind of keep you guys updated the best we can. But again, hopefully it's nothing serious. Hopefully those guys are good to go throughout the rest of camp here and into the regular season. But hey, injuries happen, things happen. Just send up prayers for him because it never hurts. And let's see here, David Kallenberger, you think Bennett gets an outside cornerback spot as a starter? I definitely think it's a possibility, especially considering what's going to happen with a guy like Nate Hobbs. Is he going to get bumped into the inside? I'm really interested to see what happens with Marcus Peters. Also, Duke Shelley is a name to watch out for that. Is he a guy that you immediately trust? He played very well for the stretch down for my Vikings, and I'm glad to see he went to my Raiders too, but a little mad that they got him for so cheap. It is what it is. But overall, Duke Shelley's a guy you're going to want to keep an eye on, and I think that's going to challenge a guy like Jacorian Bennett, even though this man can fly. This dude can absolutely fly. You love to see him out there getting some reps as a rookie and all that, but overall, I do think he could definitely challenge a lot of these older guys for a spot on the field. And the one thing about Jacorian Bennett that we pointed out in the past is the dude just swats the ball away. He does not care. He gets after it. You love to see it, and I think that's going to translate very well to the NFL. Hey, like I said, you guys watch and give us some more questions to answer. We love going about it and going from there and all that thing. So, and I know my camera's looking a little cattywampus right now, but hey, we're going to go ahead and move into the Minnesota Vikings side of things here and go into our training camp observations for the Minnesota Vikings as my camera looks at once again to kind of go things crazy here. So I'm going to go through here and just kind of go over some things that I've noticed from the Vikings. And this was, according to guys like Kevin Seifert, Will Ragatz, all those guys, a lot of things going on. But right now, Danielle Hunter is back. He's getting paid, and you love to see it. Thank God this guy's back in the building. I love to see it. We were all kind of nervous about what was going to happen, but he's back in the building, got that 1 year, $20 million contract. He deserved every single penny. Absolutely no question in my mind. He led the Vikings in sacks last year as well as pressures. And yes, he is still that 1A pass rusher that you love to have on your team. Also, the wide receivers are putting in work, headlined by Justin Jefferson. Yeah, he's that dude. He's going to continue to get that kind of love from us and everybody else because, again, he's that dude. But even guys like Jordan Addison, we've seen him run really crisp routes. Also, Jalen Naylor was really solid at his first day. He's missed a couple of days now. I'm hoping he gets back this week. Things are good to go from there. But overall, the Vikings are stacked at wide receiver. I'm really excited to see, how this whole entire wide receiver room does pan out. But overall, you are definitely getting a little excited for the season as you see these guys run their routes and do their things. Kirk Cousins is looking sharp. He's taking his shots. He's doing his thing. Overall, like I said, do you really expect Kirk Cousins to come in here and be the MVP? Probably not for this year, but hey, it's good to see him going out and doing his thing, having some fun this training camp, and he's letting it loose. Also, the documentary was a quarterback on Netflix. You got to give it a watch. I love to see that as well from Kirk Cousins. Dalton Reisner also visiting the Vikings. That's according to Will Ragatz as well as Kevin Seifert and all that. Multiple different sources there. Really excited about this because Dalton Reisner was an absolute stud for the Denver Broncos, and even if he's, even if he has lost whatever, I don't think he has, by the way, but even if he's not as good as he once was, he's still an upgrade over what the Vikings have right now, no question in my mind. Going to be excited to see if he gets the opportunity there. Maybe I should just stop saying I'm excited because you guys probably get the point at this point. Anyway. Also, Caleb Evans, Byron Murphy, Joejuan Williams, Blackman all starting at corner. We knew this was going to be a very, very competitive cornerback room for the Vikings. I mean, you lose Patrick Peterson. Duke Shelley goes to my Raiders, which, again, I love. But you lost some dudes. You lost the main starting cornerbacks for your team last year. Who's going to step up? Who's going to be that guy? But we've seen it for, like we talked about, with the Caleb Evans, Byron Murphy, and all that. Even Andrew Booth Jr. has gotten in a little bit and done well. He got himself an interception the other day, as did Lewis Cine, who we'll get into in a second here. But these DBs, I'm excited to see really what happens throughout the rest of training camp for the Vikings. Can they continue to put it together? Can they continue to do their thing? We'll have to see overall how things really do unwind from here. UDFA, Ivan Pace Jr. running with the twos. Why could he not go to the Raiders or another team, in my mind, like the Vikings, or at least draft him? Because I don't want to cut it short with these UDFA guys, but whatever. So far, he's been running with the twos. Him and Brian Asamoah are going to make a fantastic duo on the inside. Two guys that are heat-seeking missiles, bring it in the blitz as well as they can cover some guys as well. So that's going to be interesting. Excuse me, my voice is kind of going away here. But yeah, Ivan Pace Jr. running with the twos. You love to see it. A UDFA going against guys like Troy Dye and all that and coming out on top. Yes, please. Him as well as Jordan Hicks and then Brian Asamoah. Those need to be the guys that get the bulk of the carries or the bulk of the reps there, at middle linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. Jaren Hall is balling out. I love to see it. This dude, I cannot tell you. And yes, there's been some head-scratching moments. There's been some bonehead plays, but he's a rookie. You got to be able to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I think that's what he's going to continue to get here as the preseason wears on. I'm excited to see really where he continues to develop and get his reps and what he does with those reps because he is overall a very, very solid player. And like I said, I think at the end of the day, when he gets his opportunities, he's been making the most of them. So you can definitely not fault the guy for that. In fact, I mean, that's encouraged. He continues to be a player that you keep an eye on. So like I said, Jaren Hall's looking good. Also, there's plenty of competition at defensive tackle. I know that there's, when you look at guys like James Lynch and all that, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with him this next upcoming year because I do think he needs an opportunity to be able to come back into it and really earn his keep, which, again, I mean, it's kind of expected, but also, hey, is this guy going to be able to continue to do it? I don't know yet. But overall, like I said, going to be a guy to watch is James Lynch, And then also, yes, Osazia Tamawo, all those other guys, too, are going to be really interesting to see. Can they get after it? Are they going to take advantage of their opportunities? Dean Lowry, another D at tackle / D end, and a 3-tech, 5-tech, I'm sorry, that you are interested to see how he's going to transition from the Green Bay Packers to the Minnesota Vikings. So there's a lot of D tackles that I'm keeping an eye on. That D line is going to be interesting overall as well. But yeah, there's a lot of different things going on in the D tackle room for the Minnesota Vikings. And then, yes, there's even more competition at corner. We covered it, kind of going on there and starting things out. This cornerback room is so competitive. It doesn't matter who's getting the reps right now, because at the end of the day, they are going to change, because nobody's a starter from last year. Nobody's getting the benefit of the doubt. You're just going to see who is left standing at the end of training camp. So it's a very competitive cornerback room right now, which I love to see, because the best player plays. That's what you love to see. Yes, the Vikings are changing at running back. So Dalvin Cook, I mean, is he just going to sign with the Jets? I really don't know at this point. I think it's going to be fun to see overall. But hey, it is what it is at this point. If you want to sign with the Jets, that's fine, my dude. But at the end of the day, make a decision. If you're going to come back to the Vikings on a cheaper deal, I'm not going to be upset about that. But I mean, if you want to go to the Jets, dude, you got to do what's best for you. He's a solid dude. He's a solid leader. A great guy to be around in the locker room for the Minnesota Vikings for a while there. So I do wonder what is going to become of Dalvin Cook. But hey, guys like McBride, Alexander Madison going to be that full-time starter. Kenan Wangu, Ty Chandler, all those guys. And also we mentioned Dwayne McBride. I called him Dwayne McBridge throughout the entire pre-draft process. Sorry, Dwayne. But overall, like I said, I'm excited to see what the Vikings running back room does continue to boast and become this year, because this is a really good and talented running back room. But then, like I said, yes, it's not going to be Dalvin Cook that's getting the vast majority of these carries. Who is going to be that guy? We'll have to go ahead and see. And then finally, Jalen Naylor, and Brian O'Neill, were not in the latest Vikings camps. That's usually, like we said, Jalen Naylor, I don't believe he was in. I didn't hear otherwise from any of the beat reporters for the Vikings. So if he didn't make it back, it's a travesty, because he was really pushing guys like Jordan Addison and that wide receiver room to be that number 3. Even guys like KJ Osborne, who I'm excited for this year as well. But Brian O'Neill tore his Achilles, is what it is, towards the end of the season there against the Green Bay Packers. You do question how he's going to be able to come back and do his thing. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. Right now I'm experiencing my camera battery died. I got to change that. I'm going to be right back to talk about the last 2 teams in the Los Angeles Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. I do appreciate all you guys. Make sure you guys come back, even if it's not about your teams. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to come in. I'm going to answer your questions. Just tell me really what you would like to see from me as we go and talk about the rest of training camp here, because I really do love you guys. I thank you guys so much for all of your support. So we're going to be back in just a second, kind of to talk about what's going on and all of that. So we just pray for your patience. And like I said, we will go ahead and see you